Well, I was invited by U.S. Bank to come to 3 cities in the Midwest, including Milwaukee today, to talk about some research that I've done into 5 trends that are going to be impacting nonprofits and the social sector generally. And those trends are demographic shifts, both in terms of younger leaders mixing with older leaders who traditionally led our nonprofits, and also the change in our ethnic makeup in this country, where we will by 2042 be a majority-minority country. White people will no longer be the over 50%. It's also true, it's already true in some places like California, and how that's going to impact the type of leadership that's needed in organizations. The second trend is technology. And the use of social media and new technologies enhancing and in some ways challenging the way nonprofits are able to reach their audience. And then the third trend is networks. People were using the technology, particularly younger people, to do the work through networks rather than through traditional organizations. And that's threatening to some organizations that have played an intermediary role. And the fourth trend is volunteering through non-traditional means, micro-volunteering, not being as engaged in the organization, but actually just doing good that people like to do. And then the last trend is this kind of blurring of the sectors of nonprofit, for-profit, government. And when you take all of those trends together, they actually build on each other. The new types of leaders, particularly younger people, are more adept at using the technology, which enables them to build networks and to volunteer in new ways, which kind of blows up the whole paradigm of for-profit, nonprofit. So I was here to talk with a group. We probably had 160 or so nonprofit leaders and some corporate people, mostly from U.S. Bank, talking about how these trends affect the work they do and what some of their ideas were for how they could respond. Well, one of the problems that I think people face in addressing these trends is the leadership of most of our nonprofits in this country of any size seems to be mostly baby boomers. And baby boomers are not the best, being one myself, not the best at mentoring younger people. And so one of the challenges is how do you bring along the next generation of leaders in your organization at every level, not just your own replacement as CEO, but all throughout the organization. And one of the things we found is that mentoring can really help younger people to advance more quickly. It can be a little threatening to the older people who feel like now I'm being pushed out. We're also not going to see a sort of wholesale retirement at age 65. So as the baby boomers continue to work, as Social Security age rises, as for economic reasons and just personal reasons they want to continue to work, and as people are healthier longer they can, we may see executive directors who are 75 and the next generation being 55 waiting to take over. And so something's got to give here. People are not going to wait that long to be leaders of organizations. We need more shared leadership opportunities. Is think differently about your leadership in your organization. Think about ways to develop everyone's leadership potential from the receptionist on up. And leadership is really about the ability to take initiative and to get things done and to learn and grow through that process. And as we have more shared leadership, that will help, particularly as the demographics of the country shift and we get more immigrant people who come from countries where it's a more communitarian approach to the world, which is the way most of the world is organized. They want their organizations to be more consensus-driven, more cooperative, less competitive. So that kind of leadership development is important. Thinking about technology, we're all kind of overwhelmed with all the different opportunities and possibilities of social media. And my suggestion is to have somebody on staff, probably somebody who's one of the younger staff who kind of gets it, to keep an eye on those things and then to suggest opportunities for how to communicate the message differently. But don't feel like you have to be on every new tool, since that'll just scatter you too much. And then the last takeaway is look beyond the organization's walls for partnerships. And particularly if you're an advocacy type organization, not a service organization, you risk being disintermediated. In other words, people can get at the work they want to get done directly through a Facebook group rather than having to go through you. So think about what kind of value you can add in order to actually still be important in that process.